Over-the-air TV is great. It's free. The quality is better than cable or satellite because there's less compression. It's free. In most places you can get 30 to 100 channels. And did I mention it doesn't cost anything? It's free. So what's stopping you? The success you have with getting over-the-air TV is going to depend on the antenna on your house. If you get one that's too large, you spent too much money. If you get one that's too small, you're not going to get many channels. Luckily, there is a relatively easy way to figure out what channels you should get and what type of antenna you need to buy, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing you need to do is head over to a website called tvfool.com. And then on the left-hand side here, check your address for free TV. We're going to click here. All right, and on this page, we need to enter the address. For the demonstration here, I'm going to choose Facebook Way down in Menlo Park, which is on the San Francisco Bay. There should be good signals there. So let's see what the folks at Facebook can get on their televisions. And then in a couple of seconds, you'll get this TV signal analysis report come up, and scroll down, and right here is all of the detail that you want to be looking at. So right here on the left-hand side, you have the call letters of the TV station, and here you have the two channel numbers. This is the actual channel they broadcast on, and this is the one they announce on air. This used to be the same, but with the shift to digital TV, some TV stations moved their broadcast channel, but kept announcing the same number on air so as they didn't confuse people. In terms of antennas you buy and that kind of thing, you really want to be looking at this real number though. That will tell you the actual channel that's broadcasting on. And you have details here about the network affiliation of the TV station, and then details of the signal that you should be able to get, the distance from the transmitter, and then the final column here is where the signal is coming from. So, and the color code on the map also, green shows that, in fact it's all down the bottom here, an indoor set-top antenna is probably sufficient to pick up these channels. So actually down in Menlo Park, the signals are all pretty good. They're all pretty strong, and a small cheap antenna should be all you need to receive these stations. If you want to try to pull in some of these stations down the bottom here, then you're going to need larger antennas. But why bother with all of those when you've got everything up here? All of the major TV networks should be coming in strong. And then before we finish, what I'm just going to do is go back, and because we're going to use an indoor antenna, then that's probably not going to be at 30 feet. It's probably going to be at about, say, 10 feet above ground level. So we're just going to run this again to see if that makes a large difference, because we don't want to do a simulation that's based on an antenna way up high when we end up putting one down low and then we get disappointed. And you can see in this that it's pretty much the same. There really isn't going to be much difference between using a low indoor antenna and an external antenna on the top of the building. So good news for Mark Zuckerberg and the folks down at Facebook. A small, simple indoor TV antenna should be all they need. But it's not always going to be this simple. It really depends on where you live. So let's try somewhere else. And what I'm going to choose here is the city of Benicia, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area, but it's right on the edge of the San Francisco area, and a lot of hills around. So the reception conditions there are a lot more challenging. So I put Benicia in, an antenna at 30 feet, and immediately you can see on here there's way less green. Most of the channels are actually down here in the red. There are a few in the yellow, and then these ones in the gray. What we're looking at here is the yellow channels are going to need something that is larger, probably something that is either mounted outside or something up in the attic. The red channels, you're going to need a larger external antenna for those. But also the reason I chose Benicia, if we have a look here, is that you'll see that a lot of these local stations, there is a PBS affiliate, but for the network affiliates, when we get down here, we're looking into the yellow area. So even though there are some TV stations in the green section, you're not going to be getting many of the major TV networks. So you need to pay attention to that. And then also look over here. All of the major TV networks are coming from about 70 degrees. And that isn't San Francisco, that's Sacramento. So even though Benicia is in the San Francisco Bay Area, if you're putting up a TV antenna, you're going to have a much easier time pointing the antenna towards a different city and pulling in those channels If you want to get the stations from San Francisco, which are all down here, then you're going to need an even larger antenna. So this is one of the ways that doing a report like this on the house where you live might tell you things that might not be completely obvious because of where you live. TV antenna reception is all down to things like hills, your distance from the transmitter, the power of the TV stations, and all of that is taken into account in this. It has a pretty good database of the topography around the US and knows where your house is. There are some other features, though, that will affect your TV reception. Things like large buildings nearby, even trees in your yard. None of that information is in here, so you're still not getting an exact representation of the channels you will get. You still might face some problems. So doing something like this will help you narrow down the types of antennas that you might want to look at. This is the first step. We have a couple of other videos that discuss the different types of antennas and also some pitfalls to avoid when you are looking at antennas. So go look at those too and check out our guides on techhive.com.